train as I'm reading the newspaper, one person was shouting marijuana, marijuana. I don't see no marijuana. So they said they're going to be making false claims about me and get me arrested anywhere I go until they kill me and my mother's daughters will inherit the property. So America's now turned to a place where they are hunting foreigners down to kill for inheritance scam. He said there was a gay guy, a black American, you know, lured this gay white guy visiting New York last year for a job seminar, lured them to a fake romance, and then the gay white guy decided to take the black American to his hotel in Manhattan, and the black American gave this gay white guy something to smoke laced with fentanyl, and the gay white guy died, and the black American guy stole his green card, stole the white guy's credit card, and went to Bloomingdale's to spend it, and left the guy to die in the Uber car with the fentanyl. So they said, but the Manhattan prosecutor Alvin Bragg was able to prosecute the black American guy. So they say there's so many cold-blooded murders going on in America. It's unbelievable. Even my mother's address are part of a narcotic gang also planning for her. And they framed my mother up as crazy, killed her in 2015, locked her up in a mental ward while she was having a heart problem. My mother had gone to the hospital in Bellevue, and she didn't even tell the daughters what hospital she was in. And the daughters went there and was bothering my mother. And my mother said one of them's on drugs, Bolale, and they locked my mother up in a mental ward. That Bolale said she was trying, that she didn't really mean to kill my mother. She just wanted to force my mother to declare my mother mentally ill so that she would have guardianship over her and she would be able to get money as a home aid for my mother. That Bolale was out of work. She had a college degree, but she wasn't working. She was on drugs, and she was just looking for a cheap way to make money. Because at that time, the government in New York had introduced payment for family members that want to take care of their loved one. So this Bolale heard about. She was living in Pennsylvania, and she's been trying to move to New York. She couldn't afford New York. She said she was tired of Pennsylvania, so she thought, making my mother sick, framing her as mentally ill would allow her to have guardianship and be able to stay in New York and get paid. And my mother died because of that scheme. And it's been 10 years already. I'm still trying to get justice for my mother, and nobody would help me because she's a Nigerian. And then they're setting me up everywhere. So as I was here, I was reading the newspaper, and one person was shouting, marijuana, marijuana. There's marijuana here, somebody's smoking marijuana. And I was reading. So they do that to me when I'm using the bathroom also. They'll bring their police in, and lie, and there's smoke all over the place, but I always report as soon, when they start making up lies, I say, I'm reporting you, there's no smoke. And tell me, we're just trying to get rid of you. Stop using the bathroom. So they're bullying me and they're killing people here in America and taking the people's property as inheritance scam. There's a lot of drug addicts. They said China is supplying America with fentanyl laced drugs. So there's a lot of drug addicts in America, and we foreigners have been targeted. My mother has been killed. Her daughter who was born here, Bolale, was on drugs, and decided to kill my mother. Wouldn't go to work, and and she thought that setting my mother up to make her look like my mother was mentally ill would allow her to have guardianship over my mother and become a home health aide to be taking care of my mother here in New York. Because this Bolale lives in Pennsylvania, she's been trying to move to New York, but she can't afford it. And she set my mother up to do what my mother was crazy. But my mother was getting treated for heart disease. So my mother talks with a Nigerian accent, and this Bolale talks with an American accent, because she was born here in America. And she started to set my mother up, and my mother was so angry that this Bolale would do this to my mother. Locked my mother up in the mental ward when my mother was having a heart attack in Bellevue Hospital. And that's how my mother died. She said she died in shock. That we were arresting her wrongfully. So this is what is going on. So I'm on the out train. All their trains have cameras. So in case anything happens to me, so this is like a premonition. Anytime they start, you know, making suspicious comments, I'm sure they will soon bring the police to falsely accuse me again. On November 14, 2025, while I was using the bathroom, they brought their police, six of them, to say somebody said I stole a cell phone. I was hiding in the bathroom. I said, anytime I try to use the bathroom in this country, you're always harassing me. They said this is one of the things they do to black people. They don't let black people use the bathroom. It's a way of exerting control since the days of slavery. They said during the slavery, blacks can't use bathrooms indoors. They have to go to the open field and openly defecate outside. You know. So now they're trying to bring the slavery back.